Hey, what is up, guys? So we decided to take an interesting deck to locals. So we saw that Sleipnir came out, and we didn't invest in Sleipnir because bad cards. So waited for Joshua Schmidt to do well with an event, watch Sleipnir go up, and then we build fun deck. So for those of you who don't know, this is Generator Runic, and the whole purpose of this deck is we make rank 9s. It's rank 9 Tibber.
We're a gaming cafe. We offer a safe and free-to-use space for anyone to come and geek out. When I was younger growing up, there was nowhere you could go and be a geek. You were frowned upon being a geek. You hide the fact you were a geek. And now I think being a geek is something you should be proud of. And there should be a place where you can come and say, hey, I'm a geek. We've only been open 6 months, but...
So we took this to a charity event at Geek Retreat, Halifax, and we did pretty well with it. I think I came top 4, if not first, with it. My only really stupid thing was that I went up against Madolce, and yeah, he didn't let me go into time because he knew that I would most likely have Mumin in the side deck and didn't want to risk it. So when there was 3 minutes left on the clock, he went, I'll go first and I'll just do full combo because I know I can't actually kill you, but I'm not going to let you have the win either. So yeah, that was fun. Besides that, all the other matchups were really, really easy. But yeah, I'll just get into the deck and explain it because it's very fun, and I play a slightly different version, similar to what was played at the YCS, but with slight loadout caveats. So we play 3 Lopter. I played this wrong because I read it wrong. I thought it was all other generators gain 1,000 attack. He gains the power boost as well. So Lopter, for those of you that can't read it because we have German cards, I kind of sucked at picked up English ones. Lopter lets you tribute it to summon any generator from your deck. So it's free access to everything, and it's free summon. It's a quick effect as well, so you can do it during your turn or your opponent's turn, so it just dodges a lot of stuff. And during your opponent's turn, all generators gain an extra 1,000 attack, which actually does come up because it makes the tokens a lot more bigger, so that when you go boss stage, you can summon this, and your opponent can't go battle phase straight away to just start outing tokens. They have to actually make reasonably big things to get rid of the Lopter. Then we play 3 Vala. This is the second best one. Debatably, actually, the best one to draw. Because Vala's effect is you ditch Generator to summon her from your hand or grave, and then you can use her effect to summon a generator from your hand or grave. So it's free access to whatever you ditched. If you draw this with any generator, it's a level 9, a rank 9 instantly. If you draw better cards with it, you can actually make a full rip hand, and you can actually rip loads of cards out of your opponent's hand, and if not, you just go Leviathan Pass, which sometimes that's actually just enough to deal with a lot of boards. And then for the debatable bricks for it, we play the 1 Har, we play the 1 Hela, Mardell, and Utgarda. I was contemplating not playing Hela and just playing a second Har because the amount of times where I don't actually summon the Hela, I just summon another Vala. And Vala brings back the thing from the grave, and as long as I have constant access to that, it's just really, really good. And Pony keeps on outing this, but if I had a second one, it does actually come up. So Utgarda's effect is the banish one, Mardell is search, Hela is a reborn, and Har is an omni-negate. But the second effect of Har is actually comes up a lot. So if your opponent adds a card from their deck to their hand, except by drawing it from the normal draw phase, they have to send a monster from their hand or field to the graveyard. It's their choice, and it works the same way as evenly, so it forces them to make the action. So unaffected Tower monsters are affected by this. So yes, I have not been able to do this with the Noir. It sucks, but forcing them to get rid of stuff is really good, especially when you have a Jormungandr out during your turn. You can use Jormungandr to make you and your opponent both draw one, and then the Har gets rid of a card from their hand, so it just deals with problematic stuff. I keep on kind of like messing up because during your opponent's turn, you can either make the Har or the Utgarda. These are usually like the 2 go-to, depending on what your opponent's playing. Sometimes the Utgarda's better because just the free banishing means that your opponent can't play stuff, and Har is just a negate, so it kind of alternates between these two. Mardell, you don't tend to summon it after turn 1 because you've got access to the boss stage, and Hela is only a reborn if and when, but as I said, sometimes I kind of sit there and think I would rather have a second Har. And then for some going second cards, we play 3 Lava Golem. Subtracting Lopter, you don't normal summon this deck. So if you have to go second and you open this, this is fine. You just tribute your opponent's board and then continue on as normal. So yeah. And then we play 1 Condemned Witch. We play this instead of the Treyas combo. So the reason why we play the Condemned Witch is it searches any forbidden card from your deck. So your opponent has to deal with this straight away, because if not, it adds Droplet. And its second effect comes up quite often, where you contribute this during your opponent's turn to summon a fairy from your deck. So you summon the Lopter. So if you don't have full access to your combo and you just go normal this is 2 interactions instantly, because since we play Runic stuff, Droplets is a lot better, because you can send Runic stuff to just get free interaction from the Runic and the Droplet. So they have to deal with this. We found out that this is actually good for that, because we were up against Fire King. The amount of times I kept on normal summoning this, and they had to Veiler it straight away, because they knew if I added the Droplets, it wasn't going to end well. And then onto the spells, we play the 1 Fountain. We don't play anymore, because this is the bad field spell. We don't ever want to draw this, really, because it's only used for the draw effect. It doesn't stay on the field for your opponent's turn to use generators from your hand, so it's not that good. We kind of want the boss stage, because the boss stage is so much better. Then for the Runic lineup, we play the 3 Freezing Curses, the 3 Tip, the 3 Flashing Fire, the 3 Destruction, and 1 Slumber. I was tempted to take this out for the Golden Droplet, because the Golden Droplet does make your opponent draw, so it does trigger the boss stage during your turn. However, I don't want to give my opponent a draw card, because that's not very good. And we don't want to play more Slumbers, because these are more to summon level 9s and just to be interactions. The old-fashioned way, instead of using it with Fountain on the field, these will be set, and then you can use them during opponent's turn as random spot removal. And then from there, it's just a level 9 summoner, because Slipnir is like bread and butter for this deck, and Slipnir actually has good effects that do come up now and then. And then for the generator field spells, we obviously play the 3 boss stage, because 3 boss stage is amazing. You don't play any less than this, because you want this in your field spell zone. It's just a shame that this has a big red mark on it saying Ash Me Now, which sucks. So if your opponent adds a card from their deck to your hand, including their regular draw for their turn, you can summon a Generaid from your deck, and then when a Generaid special summon during your opponent's turn, you can special summon as many tokens as possible in attack position. They have 1500 attack, but if you have it with a lot, they become 2 5d6. It sucks because you can't summon the tokens during your turn. It would be great if you could, but OTK potentials would go through the ceiling there. And then we play the 3 Forbidden Droplet. This actually comes up because the original combo that you played instead of this was you played Herald of the Diviner, Treyas, and a DD Sprite, because it made you a free access to a Baron de Fleur off 1 card. However, I came to find that Droplets was so much more better, because it gave interactions that dealt with my opponent's board, and I kind of need stuff to be able to deal with just regular stuff, not just for the charity event, but we did actually play this outside of it, so it does come up, mainly because, again, my locals has a lot of flu. Dropleting monsters is quite good, and then when he just gave the Fire Kings, dropleting the Exceed when it's on the field, it means the deck doesn't do as much, and then you can make a Leviathan, which is non-destruction removal. Then the best card that's ever existed for this deck, World Legacy Monstrosity. So you target a level 9 and you special summon 2 level 9s from your deck that don't share the attribute or the type of that monster. It sucks because Slipnir is a light, so it means that you can't summon Mardell off it. However, E-teleport for 2 level 9s, and push comes to shove, this also can just summon a level 9 from your hand. It's very rare that you'll do the summon your level 9 from your hand, but when you do, it actually does help. I've mainly done it for setting and for passing to my opponent's turn. Just don't be a bad player like me and forget that during the end phase it blows up your monsters. So I summoned a Har from deck and then completely forgot that it blew itself up, and then when opponent's draw phase came, they ashed the field spell, so we didn't have access to Har anymore. So that's sad. And then finally we play the 3 evenly matched, because if we go second, it's great. And if we go first and they out my entire board, evenly is great, because the tokens blow themselves up during the end phase anyway. So if they out the field spell and a monster, they basically out your entire board. So then this just kind of just kills them. And then for the extra deck, we have a monster here that we don't ever summon. We have options in the form of Infinitract Earth Slicer. We summoned this once. We used it for its pop effect and the fact it's a 31 beat stick. So Earth Slicer just detaches materials to pop things. That's kind of it. We have the Enter Blathnia combo. Well, the two of this to rip cards out of our opponent's hand because you can make both of these in your first turn with a Vala play that I'll show at the end. 2 Jormungandr. I had it at 3 at one point and then put it back down to 2 because I don't think the third one comes up as often as I thought it would. So Jormungandr's effect is you detach a material, both players draw a card, and they attach a card from their field or their hand to it as a material. It's great because you can go Jormungandr effect and then chain Runic spell, attach the Runic spell to it, and your opponent loses something plus other things. This also forces the Har to trigger as well, so if you Jormungandr during your turn with the Har on the field, it deals with 2 cards at the same time. The only sad part with this is I did this against a Scareclaw player. The Har ended up hitting a Water Enchantress, so it kind of did nothing. Then the best card to ever be printed from this deck, 2 Laverton. This is non-targeting removal. So Laverton has the effect, so it requires 2 level 9s to make it, or more, and then you tribute it for cost to special summon 1 Generate from your extra deck, so except for itself. So thank you for Konami. So thank you, Konami, for future-proofing this card. And then you attach cards from your opponent's field or graveyard to it up to the number of materials that you had. It does have an effect to reduce attack, but it doesn't really matter because your deck's filled with boss monsters that are going to kill your opponent anyways. But it's just a great way to just deal with stuff of you just summon this, and then you just suck up your opponent's field or the resources that they actually require in the graveyard, and then they just have a bad day from there. Then the Utopic Draco combo, because at the end of doing double Enter Blathnia, you can actually make this really good. And then for the Runic cards, we play double Sleipnir, 1 Jerry, and 1 Hugin. We don't play more Hugin because we don't have multiple fountains, and we don't really care too much for fountain. Most of the time, I've actually summoned this as protection than for its fountain search effect. Jerry, I honestly think of cutting this for a 3rd Sleipnir. Because I've never used Jerry as protection, and I've never used its effect to add back. I always end up using it to ram into a monster's free spot removal. But if I'm summoning the Jerry during my opponent's turn, I'd rather summon the Sleipnir because it gives me a monster that is going to live till my next turn, and it's also a monstrosity target. And then the only card that I would have played, but I just couldn't find it at the time. I wanted to play 1 Typhon in it, but again, it just didn't come up. So yeah, that kind of was a thing. Then for the side deck, this was kind of just chucked together because it is a 14 card side, but most of the cards you don't use. So we used the Jerusalem Magnum combo. This will be taken out for DD Crows because DD Crow is better. Fair enough, this is an extra body, but it doesn't really matter when all your monsters are 2/5 base nearly, so big Bastiles don't really matter all too much. Also, since you don't really play Lynx, the Jerusalem thing comes up less. If there was an SP Little Knight in here, then yeah, sure, it'd be great, but unfortunately there isn't. I might take it out and actually put Phantasmes in because drawing into going second cards and then ramming the Phantasme into your opponent's board to then have access to Lightning Storm evenly is quite good. Then we play the 3 Droll and Lockbird because Droll is great. We don't need it in the main because since we play a bunch of cards for breaking boards, it doesn't matter too much. Yes, it does help that it stops them from making a board, and I could potentially kill them off some correct plays of making Laverton and then turning it into Jormungandr, and if I have an additional body, then yeah, it's really good. But with the amount of board breakers, it doesn't really matter. We play the 2 talents. We actually play this more for going second than we do going first because our opponent will always end up hand trapping our monstrosity with Ash, so that sucks. And then we just talents to take something or to hurt him. Then we play the 1 Harpy's Feather Duster and the double Lightning Storm. I want more back row removal if I go second. I just want to blow up your entire board. I don't really care what the back row is. People say it's for Rescue Ace propaganda, but this was mainly for the charity event, and there was no Rescue Ace there, really, except for 1 person. And then Old Man is Old Man. You play this for going first. You establish your board, and then you have a Har plus this, and constantly sending cards to the grave. It does hurt a lot of things. It just kind of sucks that in a lot of games my locals go into time, so Old Man does kind of hurt. but if you can judgment and then kill them very quickly, that is also a strategy. So the usual combo that I kept on frigging up with because I'm just bad at the game is a runic spell plus monstrosity. So you play the runic spell to summon out the Sleipnir, and then you use this. Then you use the monstrosity on the Sleipnir to summon out Heller and Vala. And then you overlay these two to make an Enter Blathnir. Enter Blathnir detaches the Vala so that they rip one card out of their hand, and then you use Heller's effect to tribute herself to summon back the Vala. And then because Vala's special summon, it summons back the Heller, and then you overlay both of them to make second Enter Blathnir. Detach, rip another card out of their hand, and then get rid of both of them to do the Utopic Draco line, which is just really good, all in all. And that's just off the 2 cards from it. If you get more stuff, you can actually do a lot better with it. The best plays, though, like what I would debatably say, the God Hand, Monstrosity, and Vala Monstrosity Mardel. The reason why I like the Mardel is because you get the free search. So you go the Vala effect to ditch the Mardel, summon Vala. Mardel effect summons itself and then adds you a copy of the field spell. And then you activate the field spell. You then monstrosity out 2 targets. So in this sense, we want, because we're going to go for like full hand rip, we will target the Mardel and use its effect to summon out the Heller and the Har. And then we overlay these 2 to make the Jormungandr. Activate the field spell, detach the Mardel to use Jormungandr's effect so that we get a free material from what we drew and then a free random card from our opponent. Har then triggers, forcing them to send another card from their hand to the graveyard. We use the field spell then to summon random generator from our deck to give us access to more stuff. So the field spell would summon out the Yu-Gi-Oh! And then we would overlay these 2 to make an Enter Blathnir. Detach to rip a card out of our opponent's hand. So now we've potentially ripped 3 cards out of our opponent's hand. Fair enough, they made them draw 1 from the Jormungandr, which kind of sucks. They may have drawn something out this. But hey ho. And then from here we can make the F-Zero, or we can just leave it with the Jormungandr and the Har on the field. And then from there we just overlay these 2 to make the Utopic Draco package. So the Yu-Gi-Oh! Then falls off. And then we pass to our opponent. Field spell activates because they drew a card. So it allows us to summon the Vala. And then the Vala summons back the Yu-Gi-Oh! So that we potentially have the Har negate, and then we get 2 more tokens. So then we have the Har negate and send, and then we have a Yu-Gi-Oh! To deal with our opponent's board. And this is all off not having access to a runic spell. So we still have access to stuff. Which gives us really more than we need, and because Vala's in the grave now, anytime we draw a generator card, the board just starts to get better because we can just ditch to bring back Vala and then just make the Leviton instantly. Because Har is an annoying card to deal with, because not just because it's the Omni negate, but because it also starts sending stuff, and that does actually come up. The Draco Future, yes, 9 times out of 10 I've never used it to actually steal an opponent's monster. It's just there as a negate, because our zones are always filled with monsters, so yeah, that's the thing. Anywho, thanks guys for watching. Hopefully we'll be getting some more feature matches from Halifax locals up soon. We're going to try and get more of the casual games up from the Dragon Duelist events, and then we will see what we can do from there. But I'll be signing out. Peace.